Yeah 君のことば繰り返し寝ても全てもやまないそっけない君の笑顔が恋しくて星に願うのまた会えるよね
What is up, guys? Welcome to the stream. My name is Daniel Livingstone, and today we're going to be editing some wildlife photography inside of Luminar Neo. I've been using Neo for a really long time, but I've never used it to do wildlife photography because I myself have never really shot wildlife photography. So, luckily, Luminar is doing a editing challenge, I want to say, featuring, let me make sure I get all the names right. Luminar is doing a challenge in association with Evo Lumina, Marcel Lesh. So shout out to Marcel for contributing the photos for this challenge. He has given us the raw images to play with inside of Luminar Neo to test out the features. So, jumping into Neo here, we have 5 photos that were provided. These are all raw images, so we're going to get to play with these kind of to the max extent. And these are scenes that I have never seen. I probably never will see because they were shot in the Arctic. I don't know if I have plans of traveling out there anytime soon, but it's really cool that we get to work on shots like this. So shout out to Marcel for providing these images. I'll put a little reference in the chat for this. Let me make this. Yeah, there we go. So check out Marcel on Instagram if you want to see more cool wildlife photography like this. I'm gonna try to test my editing skill and see if we can make something really interesting out of this. Now off the bat, I think I wanted to start with cropping, and I want to do a free crop. I think we can lose all this negative space down here, and we can actually lose a lot of the negative space up here. So I think this might be like a 9:16 deal. So, or 16:9, flip that. Yeah, I like that a lot. Just like a banner style crop could be cool. Maybe even shifting this crop a little higher, getting rid of some of that foreground on the bottom. Alright, now what are we going to do with this portrait of this? Is this a walrus? Yeah, not a seal. So what are we going to do with this guy? Alright, we are going to start with our develop tools because we have a raw image. This is the first thing we usually want to work on. So this gives us all of the great dynamic range of the camera and all the color depth with white balance. So I think I want to just pump some smart contrast into it, and that's going to help kind of accent our subject, separate it from the background a little bit, get everything to just pop out a little more in our image. Exposure wise, this looks pretty good. This is very well exposed. I'm going to bring it up just the tiniest hint. Highlights, I like the bright highlights. I'm going to punch those maybe just up a little bit. I don't think we're losing any information here, but I do want this to be a sharp image. Shadow detail, more or less shadow detail, maybe a little bit of extra shadow detail. So I'm going to lift the shadow slider up a little bit. And you can see here we have so much information in the subject. The closest I've ever seen a walrus is probably at the zoo. So it's very interesting seeing it in its natural habitat for a city person like myself. Blacks, let me bring down the blacks a little bit for the extra pop. I don't want to touch that too hard. Now temperature, white balance, you can go a couple ways with this. I think if we do a natural daylight temperature of about 5500, that is like what your eye would probably see. If it was earlier or later in the day, if we pumped a little extra warmth, we're kind of giving it that sunrise sunset feeling. Otherwise we can make the images feel really cold and cool in the Arctic, go below that 5500 point. I'm going to start at 5500 and maybe add some other colors in on top of it to change the mood of the photo through color grading. I think I'm going to use the white balance here for a color correction effect. Can pump the vibrance up a little bit. That's really just going to hit the blues since that's the only predominant color in this scene. Sharpness, noise reduction, and optics. Optics, I'll do distortion correction and chromatic aberration correction because we have a raw image, so that's great. Noise reduction, I don't think we need to come down on that much, if at all, for now. Maybe I'll revisit that later. But I think that's all we want to do for our develop tab. Now this is just our like raw, basic processing. From here, the sky's the limit. We can do whatever creative effects we want. I am going to maybe do some enhance AI. And what that does is it's going to take out some of the haze in the background and give even more depth to our image. I'm not going to do a sky enhancer because there is no sky in this shot. But for mood, I know that Luminar has a lot of really great LUTs built into the program. So I'm just going to hover over all of these and see what we're getting. I like this one. Yeah, this one pumps a little bit of like yellows into our highlights, I think, and somehow it just makes the image feel sharper. So I'm going to rock with this one. I'm going to leave that at the default value. Contrast is going to be the same, saturation is going to be the same. I just like what that's doing. Maybe it's adding like a little bit of a matting effect, but adding some contrast in as well. Let's see. I don't have to do any like retouching or manipulation of this image. It's a very simple shot, but very effective. I'll probably throw a vignette on it, like a light vignette. Center it on our walrus here. I'll do a really big vignette and then just kind of pull in the edges like that. I'll even shift the vignette to center around here so you get more of that effect on the bottom than the top. You can see here we're just pulling a little more shape to our subject. I can also change the roundness of it. Maybe I'll square it off. I'll feather it really hard. And then inner light just makes me add extra brightness where the vignette does not reach, which I think is a great effect for popping the middle, darkening the edges, shifting that focus into your subject. So I'm going to do a quick before and after what we have right here. And it looks like we've really pumped a bunch of life into this shot. I'm right now kind of sitting in more of a natural edit. I am making it very vibrant and colorful because I think wildlife photography succeeds when it comes to that. But if we go to our edits history, we've only used, technically with the develop tool, 1, 2, 3, 4 different tools here to go from this effect to this. So that's pretty cool. I think that is a really efficient way to get this edit done. I could throw film grain on it, although I don't think we're trying to sell this as film, especially with how vibrant and saturated it is. What else do we have? We could add a little bit of glow to it if we wanted to like just do a softer edit. I think the contrast is a bit much. I'm going to take that contrast slider down to 0. I think the softness helps this a little bit. Honestly, I don't really see a place to further this edit. Maybe throw some sharpening on it and that's it. Which I know in our... There's the details tab, which I like. The structure tab is good too. I'm going to check out our raw development tool again and go to sharpness and we'll see if we can pump a little bit of extra sharpness in here. Yeah, that's really coming to life. I think that's all I need. So I'm not going to go too crazy with this one past this point. I think this is a great natural edit. Now to enhance this maybe one step further, I'll see what we can do with some of these overlays. So I have kind of like a light leak overlay here. I can flip it upside down, left and right. I think this is actually kind of funny. It makes it look so dreamy when he's just like basking. I'm going to stretch this out a little bit. So just to turn that off and on. I do like what it's doing. It's kind of warming the edges. So I am happy with the way that this shot is. I think this is great. I'm going to move on to the next image. And actually one thing I can do is I can copy all the edits from this shot. And then when I go to the next image, which is of a polar bear, I can paste these over. And it'll include everything, it'll include everything as well as my overlay layer. But I will need to resize some stuff because I don't think it matches the crop. I can just click this fit button to snap it. Maybe take down that opacity. Maybe even just turn this layer off for now and we'll come back to it if I think I need it. But it's interesting. This is a lot cooler of an edit. I think this is waiting for the edits to come in. Yeah, so just loading those tools. There we go. So those are before and after. So interestingly enough, this photo and this photo were probably taken around the same time, or at least in the same place. And the edits from this that are making this warm and bright and vibrant actually look kind of muted and cool in this image, and that's because they were just taken so differently. So I can go back into my develop properties in my color tab, and then I can play with the white balance on this image. So this image, it seems like it was overcast, there's no direct sunlight, and all the color is getting washed out from that overcast. So we're gonna have to really, it's tougher to white balance. If we do the natural daylight 5500, that'll take us here, which is very desaturated, very blue, very like I want to say low tone. And in this one, I'm probably gonna have to pump a lot of saturation in there to combat that overcast condition. So if I wanted to get this like neutral, maybe 6600 is where that's like properly white balanced. There's a little bit of magenta in here. I'm gonna bring this down to like a 5 or an 8. And I think this is pretty white balanced. This snow looks white. This polar bear is yellow tinted, which polar bears are. They have like a yellow tinge to them. We have our glow effect that's softening everything, which I like. I think this could also benefit from maybe a matte effect. Just a tiny bit of a matte effect. I don't want to do too much like haze though. Another thing I can do is in the toning, I think I want to pump some purple into the, like a purpley blue tone into the ice. Something around here. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So this is our before, this is our after. Very exciting. Thinking about crop now. I can click this composition AI button and that's going to do a crop for me. I think this is kind of trying to respect the rule of thirds, where the key point of interest, which is the face of the polar bear, is hitting this lower right third. I'm going to move this. I personally don't mind when subjects are centered with the image. I don't think we need all this on top though, so I might change this to another 16:9 crop. Just get it as much width as possible. And let's see how that looks. Might even need to bring this in a little bit on the left. I think this is kind of an interesting crop. I could also just go really extreme with it and just get as close to our subject as possible. And now our subject's eyes are falling on the top third, which does follow the rule of thirds a little more. Yeah, I like this version a lot. Now I think this is using the LUT from our mood tool that we did earlier. Yeah, we're using this LUT on it, which I think does look good on this. This definitely feels more like Nat Geo magazine quality. Now let's see if we can bring in an overlay to enhance this shot. I like this, but maybe let's push ourselves to use a different overlay. This one seems interesting. Flip upside down. So that just adds like a level of complexity to it that is really interesting. find this. It just kind of helps blend some of that color around the edges of our frame. I like how yellow the bear is, though. It helps it stand out against the background. Now I'm curious, if I do a develop enhancement mask and then mask object select the polar bear. Let's see if it, okay, so I can grab the polar bear as an object. Let me undo one step. Okay, so we're showing the mask that we've created. It is the polar bear. So in our adjustments, might actually invert this mask, so now it's just the background. And then we bring that background down a little bit. Maybe even just the highlights. Shadows. Just bringing down the exposure of the background a little bit. We got our subject to shine, so I'm gonna darken the background, keep the polar bear the same. And then maybe we can even add a little bit of extra cool tone to that background. I'm gonna do like one point of blue. And now we have our background layer separating out our bear. I like the blue tone we added. That feels good. So that's pretty neat. Alright, this shot, I love this shot. I don't know if I want to copy and paste, but I do have some presets in here that I want to explore. So this is the Waterscapes collection. I just figured since there's water in the scene, it would look pretty nice. I don't really get to play with the like landscape and natural tabs that often, since I mostly am doing like portraits or lifestyle photography. Yes, come here. So let's go to landscape. We got overcast. Oh, overcast might be good. Arctic Sea is literally a preset in here. This feels very appropriate, but it kind of takes away some of the yellowness of the bear, which I think helps it stand out. So let's see what else we have in landscapes. I like this one. This is actually a really good start. So we're gonna work off of this. So our preset has been applied. And I like what's going on here. Maybe just removing a little bit of the purple cast in the ice, which I'm going to do in the color tab, HSL, yeah. And then under saturation, take away some purple, take away a little bit of magenta. So we're dealing with mostly just blues. I think I'm also going to mask this layer and the linear gradient. And we'll just kind of stick to that. And now we can remove some of the blues. Now the top of our frame is looking kind of dark. I guess it was already dark. I want to bring that back. So I'll do it a develop layer, mask that with a linear gradient. And now that that top part's selected, I'll bring that back. I'll even pump some blue into it, maybe a little bit of purple to match what we have going on. Increase the saturation of that top area. And now we've kind of brought back this top part of our image. That's such a cool shot. We got a little bit of like debris in the water, which I would like to remove, so I'm gonna use the erase tool. Just these black spots are a little distracting, so I'm gonna highlight those, erase that. Waiting for that to process out, and it's done. And there's our before, and there's our after. I think you did a great job. So what else can we do with this? I kind of want like a very dramatic edit of the bear, so I do want to darken like everything else. So masking, I'm gonna try to do a object select again. Grab our bear. I'm gonna remove some of the parts that I don't want included here. And then erase some of the extra stuff that we don't want to include. I mean, this mask really did most of the work for us. All I have to do is just add like a couple of small edges in. Take out these hard corners. Oh, and then this little tuft of fur over here. The AI masking is also nice because I don't have to pull out a tablet to do any sort of like selections or masks. I can just use my regular mouse, which normally I would not be using my mouse to do this kind of stuff. Okay, cool. Now that we have our mask made, I want to invert that, and then I want to bring everything down. And then I want another develop tool that's going to be a darkening layer, but I'm going to do a linear gradient from the bottom. So now I can control the water fall off and exposure. And then I'll also do a vignette just to quickly have this do like a manual, or quickly do a radial gradient for me. I'm gonna do a crazy strong feather on that. And then I'm gonna put my subject right there. I know I'm starting to see a little extra purple here from my earlier develop radial, so I'm gonna... What is this supposed to... Where is this supposed to be? I don't know, this is the one. I'll do like a 10. We're gonna really dial that back. Let that process out. There we go. That's a lot less like annoyingly purple back there. I think I also have to just pick up that exposure a little more too. So we're gonna bring that up a bit more. Hopefully that should sort that problem out. And if you want to try out Luminar yourself, I believe you get a free trial if you scan that QR code in the bottom right corner of your screen. With your phone, you can just take a picture of it. If not, if you check the description of this stream, you'll get my affiliate link, and that'll give you the best deals possible. Alright, I like what's going on here with this. I think on this bottom vignette down here, throw some blue in there. We want more color in the water. Yeah, that really gave a lot of life to the water. And then I'm gonna crop it. Maybe not 16 by 9, but well, I don't know how we ended up getting a 16 by 9 crop off that. I think it's just taking a second to catch up. There we go. If I cut out that top part, which I wasn't really a huge fan of anyway, I just want to focus on the action, which I think is this. So that is applying our crop. I think I have like 2 or 3 more images to work on, and I'm definitely giving them their own treatment. If we have some extra time towards the end of the stream, I'll also be editing some of my own photos that I took while in Vegas on a photography trip. I don't know why this is getting me so much trouble right now. It just seems like this edit is taking up a lot of resources. Give me 1 second while I troubleshoot this, everybody. Alright, we are back on our next image. We're having some issues with the cropping on the other image. I feel like it's just taking too many resources, which is fine. We can move on to the next shot. So, very similar workflow on this one. I think I'm just gonna go to the Develop tab. We're gonna do our raw processing, pump some contrast in. I'll actually go kind of dark and moody with the shadows. And doing that actually gave me an idea for a tool that I think would be really appropriate in this edit. White balance looks pretty solid so far. What if I do 6500 for overcast? It's a little too warm. 5500 feels better. I'll pump a little bit of saturation in there. And then there's a dramatic tool in here. I think it'd be really nice for this. So if I pump that up, it's like not a black and white effect, but it definitely removes some saturation in the process. But it also really pumps a lot of local contrast, which makes it very dynamic. I think before I put a bunch of effects on this, I'll crop this one earlier in the pipeline. Yeah. Let me just do like a free crop on this, see what the deal is. I do like the context of the extra horizon in the background. Now if I wanted to make this feel very cool as in temperature, like cold, I'm gonna look for a LUT that kind of has mostly a blue effect to it. This one is a good start. That one's also not bad. This one, if it was less teal and more like a blue. Yeah, let's go with this. Alright, what other effects can we add? I think a vignette is always appropriate. The inner light on that would be useful, actually. Or we can do another mask effect where we do our object select, and then we just pick out our polar bear, and then we can brush in details if we want. Actually, it doesn't look bad so far. Mask, I want to show it, and I want the brush, and I want to erase. Probably a little bit of this, and then a little bit of this. I am noticing that Luminar is loading a lot faster than it used to. Being able to zoom in very quickly and do these kinds of changes was not always the quickest. So I really appreciate that they've been optimizing the program in that way. I'm just gonna brush the feet. It's so cool that I'm editing a photo of a polar bear right now. Not something I thought I'd ever be able to do. Like a proper, like, raw image. Smooth out this hard edge right here. That line is hilarious. And then invert that. And then we're gonna do the same thing where we just darken that background a little bit. Maybe even make the rest of the background cooler, as in like bluer. So we're gonna do some fun stuff with curves. So I'm using the curves to add a little color toning into the subject. And then if there's a way for me to duplicate this, that'd be cool. Otherwise I'll just do another develop, object select, pick out the polar bear, I'll brush him up, just make sure we're getting those ears. And this is something that I like to do in a lot of my like portrait and lifestyle work, is I like having selections made on the subject and the background so that I can control those objects independently in my adjustments. I just like separating them because it does give more focus to what you want in the image. Usually going to be the subject. In this case, it's a polar bear. All right, so I got this polar bear masked out. Do I want to change? I kind of want to stick to the curves here really quick. Maybe make him its head brighter, and then maybe I'll pump some yellow in there. Yeah, there's that separation. Did not want to make him green. Maybe a little bit of magenta and red though. Not too red though, where it looks like fake painted, and that's kind of neat. So we got very subtle color contrast between the polar bear and the background now, where I'm pumping warmer red, magenta, yellow tones into our bear, cooler blue, green, teal tones into the background. You get that separation there. And there's our before and after transition. I think that's a lot more dynamic than the raw, but obviously it's a raw file, it's going to be kind of flat and gray. So it's up to us to add light and color where we see fit as artists. Alright, last shot. We're back to the seal. This one's looking dark in a way that is inspiring me to do a black and white edit on this. So I'm going to reduce the contrast on this to get as much data in as possible. So I'm going with a very low contrast edit to start. I just want to get all the information out of there, which looks like we have. I'm also going to do some sharpness. Put some sharpness on there. And now, black and white time. So convert that to black and white. And from here, we're gonna do, what are all the best ways we can mess with contrast? Definitely the dramatic effect. That's gonna give us a little bit too much structure though. Toning mood sky. Something that keeps it black and white would be great. I do have some of my own presets for this kind of stuff. So I have a filmic black and white preset that I've created. That one's a little too dark. Let's see what else we got. Monochrome. Very subtle differences between all of these. The elegant matte one I'm feeling, so this definitely could use some matte to help it out. And I'm actually gonna go back into my develop tab. I'm gonna bring those highlights back. I am gonna bring those shadows down. And then that contrast is gonna have to come back. This is looking a lot better. I need to do a gradient, linear gradient from the bottom. And I just really need to make this water dark. I also need to make... You know what? If I was being really creative and like pushing the limits on this one, I'm gonna attempt to erase this iceberg right here, this little ice shelf. So I would like to get rid of that. I should have also gotten rid of the top ones, but I can do it in the next step. But I'm trying to get rid of all the ice, so it's just gonna be the one sheet of ice of water that he's laying on. Alright, let's erase these other two. They actually did a good job. Could be a little better over here. I'm just going to do one more pass over this section. It's getting closer. You can see the brush stroke, especially like right here. So if I can get this looking good, then we'll be in business. Yeah, it's better. Now I'm going to do another develop linear gradient from the top side here. Actually, I don't know if that's the right way to do it. I think a better way is get rid of that. Yeah, we'll get rid of that too. Is we will do a develop selection. Oh wait, what? Does that not include my erase? Oh, how did I lose that? Wait, let me go back a couple steps. I might have accidentally undid erase tool. Let me redo. How do I go forward in time? Control Y. Okay, I guess we're just at the erase portion. Let me tap into this edit again. Oh yeah, because we already cropped this. That's right. I may be overloading it by putting in too many commands, yeah. I'm asking too much of this right now. Let's wait for Luminar to catch up. I'm making too much stuff happen. Alright. Let's see if we can transition to a different shot. You know what, part of the issue is I'm running out of scratch disk space. It's filling up pretty quickly. Alright, let's get that erase tool going again. Alright, let's run that erase, let it do its thing. Alright, and then one more pass over that. Good. Alright. Now what I need to do is a develop tab. This is going to be a lot easier. I'm going to do a... Oh, what is Mask AI going to grab for me? Probably just the seal. And then I'll need to brush. Oh, okay. Oh, water, yeah. That's actually perfect. Minus the iceberg. So maybe it's just tougher because it's black and white, so it's having a hard time reading, but I can brush this out. I can bring in the other parts momentarily. Just want to get a good... Ow! So we're just going to clean up this edge in our selection. Bring back anything that we might have taken out erroneously. There we go. Now if I go back to my adjustments and darken the water, yeah, it'll be like that. And that's the exact look we were going for with this. Actually, I want to bring down the blacks a little bit here, which we can do in the curves. Yeah. And this is a much more dramatic image in my opinion. So now a really simple way we can just grab the seal. I guess we can do object select. Yeah. That's very fast. Is smart contrast. Bam. Oh, it even created like shape on him. Like it really brings out those highlights. I like that a lot. And now, I mean, that's just super trippy. I love it. It's great. Did we already do our matte effect on top of this? I might delete it here and then do it on top of everything. It really recontextualizes a lot of the image. Oh, there we go. And now I'll do the matting on top of it all. Still want to keep up the contrast. Oh, but we lost our erase tool. So like, ugh. Why is that such an issue? Do I have to redo this every time? Alright, we're not going to edit the history of this image anymore. I just don't like that I keep losing that. And it's going to take up more resources to just do it every time. Okay. That's fine. That's what we want. Alright, now we pump that contrast like crazy. Vividness doesn't matter because there's no color in our shot. Now if all is good, we can crop this, yep. Like that. And that is a really, really cool edit on this image. That's so cool. Yeah, I'm happy with this. This is kind of really the look I was going for with this one. That means we should also be able to crop this one if it's going to behave. There may be just too many effects on this one for this to cooperate though. That's fine, we don't need to interact with that. Alright, so these are our... Oh, I ended up cropping something. I mean, I don't hate this crop actually. It's kind of cool. I just wish I'm gonna hold this tool open until it gives us some options. Maybe I just need to wait for it to load. I'm being too impatient with it. But these tools shouldn't be grayed out like that. Yeah, then no crop was made. And I can't, it won't let me just do anything with this, so that's fine. We can accept the crop for what it is. I'm glad we were able to crop this one though. That one was really important for us to be able to do. I'm obsessed with this edit. This one also turned out really nice. That bear no longer looks as warm as it did when I was editing it because my eyes have had a break from all the color. I don't think I want to push it any further, but I think this is a good level of separation. It's nice and subtle. I think I have one more idea, and where would it be? Atmosphere. So I can add fog to this image, and hopefully this does read my back to front level of like depth. Yeah, it did. It did a good job too. That's a little bit too much depth. Let's pull that back. And the lightness. Oh, I like that. I want like, yeah, if a thicker fog or a thinner fog. I actually think the fog adds some really good. Ooh, what's layered fog? Oh. Oh, like front to back instead of back to front. Mist. And what's the difference between mist and fog? Fog is just a little thicker, I guess, and then haze is not doing us any favors. So I think fog is the best option here for what we got. Yeah, that's really good actually. Our image isn't as crunchy anymore. And this is where we started, humble beginnings. Alright, well, I'm happy with these 5 images. I'm gonna get exports on all of them and then I'll update the stream thumbnail. In the meantime, while we're here, we can do some Vegas shots. So let's see what we got. I think this is going to be a little more rapid fire. So like, let's just take this shot, see what we can do with some presets. I don't want to do black and white for this. This has got too much great color in it. This one's kind of cool. I might change this layer a little bit. I can see there's an overlay on top of it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then I do want to bring back some of the details here, so develop tab. Oh, this is just, we're working on the actual layer itself. Okay. Maybe bring back some of the shadows. I can let that, yeah, and then do some more color in there. Like I want to really get some vibrance out of this shot. This looks good. What else we got? This is just gonna be like a speed demo, just like how quickly you can get a good edit out of the program. We got some big city presets here. That one's not bad. This is kind of a subdued matte look. I have my favorites of like all those presets kind of saved in this tab here. This one's nice. This one's also nice. This one, yeah, is just such a vibe. I definitely need to pull up the exposure on this shot though. It is a little underexposed. Alright, now that I have a good exposure, okay, I see. Let this be dark, let this be a little moody. We'll probably also need to rotate this in the crop a little bit, like that. And then some like flare would be neat in this, or like something with giving us direction. Yeah, like that. 50 was actually pretty good. And now I can do a vignette underneath it. The subject over here. And then we'll round it out, feather it out, and then darken it a little more. And there you go. You know what? This street area, not really pertinent to the shot. New crop. Just like that. Let's keep that going actually. And then we just stretch out our overlay a little bit on this side and this side. Alright, it looks like we're probably gonna have to have some sort of more top part to this image. So maybe we just go up to where the street lies. Yeah, like here. Alright, cool. Good with that. Moving forward. So I have these cool shots of the Eiffel Tower. I like this one. If we just cropped these people out of the bottom. I think that would come together really nicely. Let's see. Let's see if my presets work in this, like the ones that I've developed for my own edits. I like that one. That one's kind of cool. You know, we do have some good like sky replacement opportunity here. I'm gonna do this urban purple one. And then sky replacement I'll throw in somewhere in here. let's see, this would be a sunset scene, so I'm gonna filter that by dramatic sunsets. Do something like this. Can we flip it? It's kind of like lit from the wrong angle. We'll switch it out with that one. Actually works. This one works really well too. Alright, that sky actually works really well. Maybe I'll throw a warming filter on this. I know that the landscape feature has a golden hour slider, and that is so helpful. So we've just completely changed the mood of this image from like early afternoon to like peak sunset. So this is our before and this is our after. And I think this is really nice. I just want to crop out the do a free crop. Just get rid of that very bottom part so we don't see context for people, and it's just that. That looks good. What else we got? We have these ducks, which are pretty fun. This one I don't think I need to do a whole lot. It's a pretty simple image. We'll just throw like a preset on it. I actually like that. And then probably a crop. Just really focusing in on our subject here. I need to skip this song real quick. I'm not a huge fan of this one. Take that opacity down a tad. There's my focal point. Okay. And then the only other thing I want to change about this is maybe white balancing it a little better. Cool. And then another cool thing I got to do while I was there is hit the top of the Eiffel Tower, which was really neat. So got these got a panoramic shot of the Bellagio. Got to watch the water show from the top as well. Got some really neat night scenes of Vegas. I know there's going to be a good preset for this. Electric City, this one's really cool. I'm gonna roll with this just because it's feeling very creative. And a lot of the mood is coming from this Electric City. Okay. Color. Got some HSL going on in here. Enhance AI. And then structure. And then I'm guessing the development settings are just really purple. Yeah. That's really neat. Just a little bit of straightening here. And then is there a transform option. I feel like that's actually underdeveloped, which is fine. But this is just so neat. Got some really cool fountain shots, like this one. I like these cinematic ones too. This one is pretty clean. I think all I'd have to do to it is just fix the crop rotation a little bit. And then I can also do a details tab if I want to enhance the small details. Maybe decrease medium. Large is fine. So yeah, just small details and then a little bit of sharpening. And then that image is popping out. I can also bring the black point down again in the develop tab. Just getting that to like a true black point. Might have hit that a little too hard. And then I want to see if I can bring back any of that detail in the water. It looks like it's kind of blown out, even in the raw file. That's okay. And we already have a mood on this, right? Yeah, which is the beyond the wall filter. I'm pretty happy with that. Any other cool shots in here? Oh yeah, some street figures. I want to do kind of a classic black and white shot, something that feels timeless. I think this like ground level Bellagio water shot will be the right subject for that. Probably something like this. Yeah. Let's roll with this film noir one. And then if I want to do a what else can we do here? Is it centered? It is centered. I think I just need to come into like a wider, closer crop like that. Lift the shadows just a tiny bit. Get some of that detail back. There we go. Now we're cooking. And once again, any amount of detail I can get back in this water, I am desperate for. Much better, much better. Let's even that out. I think that's centered, yeah. Alright. I am very content with the edits we got out of this. I'm gonna mark this 5 stars. And if I go back to my catalog, just clicking over some of the other edits we ended up doing. Recently edited. Yeah, all these. Alright, we can see what we worked on today. So we got this shot. We got this shot. This shot. Wow, these are all so sharp. I love them. This shot. it's so crazy because you get lost in the edit very easily, like while you're working on it, and then nothing. Sometimes it doesn't feel 100% right while you're in it, but taking some time away from it, looking back at it, feels so much better. Like this one's definitely, I need to like rotate it a little more. That water is not even. Like I need to push this direction. It's either the building or the water, kind of struggling with that. Maybe I will go and do some transformation in the develop tool. Other way. Yeah. And now I can rotate it to feel more level. Right there. There we go. Yeah. We got this, which was what brought us here, is these wildlife shots, so we're coming to these with like real fresh eyes. This shot, which I feel like is not rendering our edits, at least not all of them. Oh, there we go. I feel like we could throw some dramatic filter on this one now, looking back at it. It has like so much color compared to what we've been doing. That probably helps. And then will it let us crop this shot? I'm really fighting for it. That's fine. This shot is amazing. And this one was just super artistic and creative, kind of out there, a little weird, just for the funsies. Which I think it makes for some good wall art, low-key. Yeah, I think we're in a good spot. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 images done. Kind of did like a rapid fire on the street photography, but I think it's just cool to see how quickly you can edit stuff in this and get to a point that's very usable. Spent a little more time on the wildlife stuff because I was just having a lot of fun playing around with subject matter that I normally don't get to. But I think that's gonna leave us for this stream. Let's see, what image are we going out on? We're going out on the walrus. So, with all that, oh wait, let me switch the face cam. Alright guys, so with all that being said and done, my name is Daniel Livingstone. This is the end of the stream. If you have any questions, feel free to comment them on the stream, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Instagram if you want to see more photos from me, and as always, be sure to do something creative today. I'll see you guys in the next one. Last minute thing too, if you want a discounted version of Luminar Neo or a trial just to see what you can do with your photos yourself, check out the description of the stream. I have an affiliate link for Luminar in the description. So, I'll see you guys all in the next one. Take care.